Let's start with the second chapter, the flower. So what are we going to learn in this chapter? First of all, we'll learn about the four whorls of the flower that are also called as a part of the flower, structure, function of each whorl. Then what is pollination? Two types are there, self and cross pollination. So what are the agents which help in pollination? Wind, water, insects, their examples. What is fertilization? Formation of fruits, parts of fruits, seeds, and germination. Let us see these things in detail now. So we already know that plant has different parts. Flower is the most beautiful, colorful part of the plant. What is the main purpose of flower? It is a reproductive organ. It is attached to the shoot by means of a stalk or pedicel. The tip of the stalk is enlarged and slightly flattened thalamus, from where the petals and other floral whorls part arises. Examine a fully opened flower. Note its different part. You'll observe that each part has a particular arrangement. There are four whorls, which are also called as rings. The first one being the calyx. This is the outermost whorl made up of tiny green leaf-like structures called sepals. So look at this picture here. So here we have the outermost part. Here we have thalamus and then green part. They are called as the sepals. Above that we have petals which are colored. Then we have the male and female part which we are going to learn now. Flowers also have male and female parts. So during the bud stage, they are enclosed in inner part of the flower to provide necessary protection for the bud. So the first part is called as calyx. It is green color. What is the function? It is for protection of the inner whorls. Second one, as I told you, is the colored one, corolla. And it has individual members called as petals. They're very attractive. They attract the insects. Petals are large, fragrant, and brightly colored parts of the flower. Then we have the male part, which is the androecium. So this is the third whorl of the flower. It is made up of stamens. There are thread-like filaments which at the tip bears the anthers. You can look at the picture here. Here we have the anther. Here is the filament. What do? They produce the pollen grains which have male gametes in it. It is the male part of the flower. See carefully. There is a male part here and there is a female part here. The female part is nothing but the gynoecium. So gynoecium is the fourth and the innermost whorl of the flower. It is made up of carpel or pistil. Again, three parts are there: stigma, style, and ovary. Say again: stigma, style, and ovary. Look at the picture here. Here we have the stigma, this is the style, and here we have the ovary. That's the female part. So, stigma receives the pollen grains, that is the male gametes, and ovary contains small rounded ovules which has the female gamete. Male and female together, they make up the plant flower. That's called as a bisexual flower. It has both male and female. It's a complete flower. Here they have shown us the stamen and the carpel. Observe them carefully, see the parts. You need to draw this in your notebook. It's important. Now let's see one activity. Draw structure of flower. Ask your teacher or the gardener of your school to allow you to pluck flower. So here you can see a complete flower and here are the parts of the flower. Calyx, epicalyx. Now, if any one of the four whorls are missing, that is incomplete flower. Now remember, the flowers are of two types, bisexual and unisexual. Bi means two, uni means one. So bisexual have both male and female reproductive parts. They are called hermaphrodite. The word is new for you, hermaphrodite. In certain flowers, either male or female gynoecium reproductive parts are present. Functions of flower. The flower is a reproductive organ. Main function is to produce seeds and fruits. And the first step of achieving this, the transfer of pollen grains from anther to stigma. Now pollination. Pollination is the transfer of pollen grains from anther to stigma. Now self-pollination. Look at this one. So suppose that it occurs within the single flower. The pollen grains of anther fall on the stigma of the same flower. It is called self-pollination. And if it happens between the flowers of different plants, then it is called as cross-pollination. So remember the two types. Self-pollination, this plant is there, this leaf, flower, and this male part, that is a pollen grain, falls on the female part, that is a gynoecium, stigma style ovary. Self-pollination occurs. It can be the two flowers of the same plant or it can be the same flower. Sometimes it happens between two different flowers of two different plants, that is cross pollination. Remember these two types. This is very important question for exam. Now this pollination occurs. Now we have understood what is pollination. The pollen grains from the male part are transferred to the stigma of the female part. It can be done by different agents, for example insects. So you might have seen honeybees, butterflies. They hover from one flower to other. They visit one flower to other. So what happens? The pollen grains stick to their parts, body parts, wings, legs and all, and they fall on the stigma and bring about fertilization. So this is called insect pollination. Mustard, marigold and dahlia are having such kind of pollination. You can see the honeybee covered with the pollen and how it is hovering. Nectar sucking insects are there in salvia plant. So this is happening in nature. It's wonderful. So visit a garden, and when flowers are there, try to locate different types of flowers. Observe them carefully, see the butterflies, bees hovering over it. So here they have shown us what actually happens. Now you can try for yourself. Go to the school garden, collect 10 to 12 flowers of different kind and observe them. The first step in science is observation. Observe them carefully, scientific method. Take the help of your teacher. Classify them if the flowers can do self-pollination or cross-pollination. What are the agents of pollination? You write it down in your notebook. To watch the presence of pollen grain. So hold a flower as a shoe flower in your hand. Gently touch the anther. Some powdery mass will come out. Those are nothing but the pollen grains. Now wind also can carry the pollen grains with it. So when these flowers mature, the pollen grains are blown away with the wind. The pollen grains with the wind, they fall to the stigma of another flower, maybe of the same plant or another plant. Wind pollination occurs. Now this can happen with water also. Water can carry the pollen grains. Of course, we are talking of the plants which are inside the water. So here they have shown us. Okay. Now lotus and trapa are the water plants, but the flowers are exposed to air and they're pollinated by insects. Now animals, some birds and animals can also act as pollinating agents. Now what actually happens after pollination? Fertilization. You can see it in this picture. The pollen grains that are on the stigma, they produce small tubes which contain the male gametes. These male gametes travel through the tubes and go and meet with the female gamete. So pollen grain carry the male gamete. The pollen tube finally reaches the ovary and then it releases the male gamete. After this, fertilization takes place. The male and female gamete unite together to form a fertilized cell which converts into a seed later on. The ovules inside the ovary developed into seed, and other parts like sepals and petals fall off. And ovary remains attached to the stalk and it grows into a fruit. Now, what is a fruit? Fruit is a ripened ovary. For most of them, the fruit is a sweet, fleshy, edible part which you can eat. Tomato, pea, pumpkin are also fruits of plant. We call them commonly vegetables, but they are not vegetables, remember. Now, vegetable is any edible part of the plant, that is root, stem and leaf or fruit, which can be either eaten or raw or cooked. Apple, pear are different kinds of fruits. These are thalamus, not the ovary. This fleshy part which we eat. Seeds are inside. You can see it in this picture. Here we have a cut section of mango. Pericarp, fruit wall is shown here. Epicarp, epi means outside. Mesocarp, middle part. Endocarp, inner part. So pericarp of a flower, fruit wall develops. Here they have shown us. In tomato and papaya, it is soft and fleshy. Epicarp is the outer protective layer. Mesocarp is the middle part. Endocarp is the inner part which contains the seed. Now, there are different types of fruits. A fleshy fruit is the one which has entire pericarp is soft, fleshy. Examples are given here. A dry fruit, the pericarp is not pulpy, enclosed in the seed. The pod is pericarp and the pea is the seed in which it is enclosed. What is the function of the fruit? The most important function of the fruit is to protect the seed, store the food. The seed is going to become the new plant. That's why it's important to protect it. If you look inside the seed, here they have shown us cotyledons are there, radicle and plumule. That's the growing plant. In future, it is going to grow through this seed. So two types are there, monocot and dicot. So if you look at the structure, bean seed, it is a dicot. It is protected by thin greenish outermost seed coat. It protects it from bacteria and mechanical injury. So when the seed falls down, it is protected because of this seed coat. Outer exposed part is called testa, inner part is called tegmen. Look at this picture, you can see it can come in exam. So remember these parts. Now, inner concave side, there is a scar called as hilum which marks the place where seed was attached to the fruit wall. So above the hilum, there is a small pore called as micropyle. The micropyle absorbs and allows the entry as much as water is required for germination. On removing the testa, tegmen soaked in bean seed, you will find that the seed is made up of two fleshy parts. They are called as cotyledons. You might have heard about this, monocot and dicot. In the earlier chapter, it was there. So in between the two cotyledons, there is a very delicate part, that is radicle and plumule. Radicle develops into the future root and plumule develops into the shoot. Now they have shown us what is inside the maize gram. If you cut open the soaked maize grain, you can see these parts inside. Again remember, endosperm, plumule, radicle, these are the different parts. This diagram you have to draw. Now let's go ahead. The maize grain is almost triangular in shape. The lower narrow end of the grain is yellowish and the seed coat of the maize grain is fused with the pericarp or fruit wall. So this is a thin membranous layer. The upper layer part of the maize is called endosperm and protein layer is there, aileron layer. So you can see we always use the term maize grain as the seed coat is fused with the pericarp. Now bean seed and maize grain, they are shown the difference, dicot and monocot. Endosperm is absent in bean and present in maize grain. Cotyledons store the food in bean seed and endosperm so stores it in maize grain. Embryo is large in bean seed and it's small in maize. Seed contains separate fruit. Seed coat and fruit balls are fused. Now what is germination? Formation of new plant. Now remember the seed contains the future plant. Whenever the conditions which are suitable for the germination like water, air, suitable temperature are there, a young plant is grown. That is called as germination. So when the plant grows out of the seed, that is germination. Remember this. Most plants grow from the seed. Marigold, mango, apple are the examples. When you put this seed in the soil, when the conditions are right, it grows into a new plant. Sometimes some plants like wheat, marigold, they produce only seeds once in a year and die. But some produces continuously. Now here they have shown us how the germination of bean seed occurs. So you can see the small radicle and plumule coming out. Cotyledons are there. Leaf are formed. A new plant comes into the world. You can study with the help of P. Here they have shown us the different stages. Have a look at it. Another activity that told us to study the germination of maize grain. So see this. Looking at the picture, everything is very clear. Radicle, plumule, and then leaves coming out. Now here there are two things that are told to us. See, germination of bean seed, an example of epigeal germination. Here they have shown us hypogeal germination. So the remaining seeds in the pot, it is observed that the cotyledon remains below the ground. This is hypogeal. So remember this. And here they have said this is hypogeal germination. So here there is a difference. Epigeal and hypogeal. Cotyledons are pushed above the ground. It's called epigeal. When they remain in the ground, that is hypogeal. So hypocotyl elongates faster. Here, faster than hypocotyl. Examples are also given. Have a look at it. Some more activities. You can see they have done it in the jar. So jar A, B, C, D. Look at A. There is air and warmth. In B, there is water and warmth. In C, there is air, water, and warmth. And D, there is only air and water. So cotton wool is used. The roots are growing. You can see the changes. You already know what are the favorable conditions required for the growth of the seeds. Let's go ahead now. So it is observed from all these activities that they require water. Most chemical reactions occur in water. Water is essential for all living things. They also need air to respire. Of course, they are living things. Oxygen should be present and a suitable temperature. It should not be very high. It should not be very cold. So around 35 to 40 is the favorable temperature for these plants to grow. Enzymes, they are certain chemicals which help in the growth of the plants. Okay, thank you very much. We'll stop here.